Hi, I'm Zach.
And I'm Josh.
And this is a pineapple. Hi, fellow nerds. We just watched Chapter 11 of The Mandalorian. And man, do we have some thoughts about this one. As always, our main question is this. Is it the way? Alright, so right before we get into it, I think a small recap is in order. So, the episode opens up, the ship, the Razor Crest. Razor Crest is weird because it's like it's the type of ship, but it's also the name that we call it. So,
right.
Which is fine. But anyways, Razor Crest is in the same shape it was last time. It's very rickety. It's pretty much what we thought it was going to be. He doesn't have any more trouble. He makes it to the planet he's going to, and man, is it a rough landing. Let me tell you, like, he pretty much says, I can't even land this thing because we'll burn to a crisp in the atmosphere kind of thing.
Yep.
So he...
Oh, actually, he does make it to the planet, though.
He does make it to the planet. He basically drops to the planet and uses what little fuel he has to, like, slam it down. And, man, good shocks. Good shocks in that thing. But...
Again, we'll get more into that.
In any case, he lands it. After he lands it, he pays a calamari-looking dude to fix his ship. Don't know why he did that, but he does. He's like, fix the ship, and immediately goes into their kind of like bar or whatever little restaurant they got there, because he's at the point where he's like, I need info on these Mandos. I need to get somewhere. So he goes in, he gets somebody, he's like, I need information, we don't have it, yes you do, okay, I'll get you somebody. Gets him somebody, which leads him to an actual, like, boat ship on the water, a fishing vessel, and there he is out of the blue betrayed by these people. It actually took us off guard. He's betrayed by these people. They try to kill Baby Yoda, but not to collect him, which is weird. Like, it's the first time they've attacked him not to get the child. They attacked him to get the Beskar armor. And all hope seemed lost because he was trapped in this cage with this big sea monster looking thing. But then, sure enough, more Mandalorians come. It's the ones he's been looking for. Who are they? Lo and behold, Bo-Katan and her band of misfit toys. They save him, and then they take off their helmets, and he gets really pissed. He's like, this isn't the way, and they're like, you're a zealot, and he's like, well, you're not the way. And they get into this argument about that, and basically that leads him to actually end up helping them, because they're like, we want to retake Mandalore, we need weapons to do it, help us take the ship, we'll lead you to the Jedi that you're looking for. And he's like, oh, whatever. Takes the child to very convenient babysitters, aka the frog people. Oh yeah, frog people they have their reuniting thing. It's great. Frog lady finds her husband. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. Blech. And then Mando goes, and he hijacks the vessel with them, and long story short, they pretty much plow their way through the vessel. They say it's going to be hard, but they plow their way through the vessel. And then Bo-Katan shows her alternative motives, if you will, and Mando is like, oh, I don't like this, and she's like, you should join us. The offer stands whenever you want. Here's the Jedi you're looking for. And Mando goes back, picks up the child, and short version, they take off. So, yeah. So what are our first thoughts on that, Josh?
Alright guys, so we're going to first talk about the first part of this episode. We're going to go down the line. So, I legitimately predicted how Mando was going to land his ship. I was like,
To the T.
Pretty much. I said, summarization of what I said, I was like, he's going to be able to do it, very rough landing, going to the planet. He's going to be able to get down to the planet, land, but then the ship's going to fall apart sort of thing. Which is pretty much what happened in the episode. He landed, pretty much burned up in the atmosphere, made it down, landed, but then fell over into the sea. So, I'm pretty proud of myself.
Yeah, that was a pretty good job.
And
Good job.
on top of that, the landing scene period, I mean, it was really cool. I don't know. It was suspenseful too, oddly. Even though it's like, again, they're not probably going to kill off these characters, but it was still like suspenseful, sort of like, not necessarily like the spider thing, but it was suspenseful in the fact that like they're literally burning up in the atmosphere as they're coming down.
Yeah.
It's like, how are they going to properly land on this thing? And they didn't really properly, and they sort of did.
Right. I mean, Star Wars once again did its wonderful thing of breaking the rules of physics as a whole, because I mean, I think we can all agree that even though they were sealed in the cockpit, the crushing and the temperature of the atmosphere was engulfed through the entire ship. So not only should everything inside the ship be burned to a crisp, which it's not, but they should have been burned to a crisp.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way they should have actually survived it, but it's Star Wars, so we let it slide because they have different rules. Like, so you can let that go. I just found it funny. But I agree with you. It was a very good landing. Good job for predicting it. I actually thought that it was my favorite scene in the entire show. If you haven't...
This is the last scene was your favorite scene in the entire show. Last episode.
Yeah.
So you have a new favorite. New favorite.
Oh, entire show. No, entire episode. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, you're right. In the entire episode, this was my favorite scene.
Oh, yeah. No, I have to agree with you.
If you haven't noticed, we're not really as hyped about this episode. We'll go into it. I do want to make it very clear that we do have some actual general concerns now, but it's not all hope is lost. So let's just go through it. But
it's the nerd worry.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where, as a nerd, and especially like just past nerd stuff with us,
Star Wars specifically,
specifically Star Wars, and just other things. It's like you mess something up, and then you're just like, why? And then again, something gives you hope, and then all of a sudden it's messed up. Again, we don't hope it's going to mess up. We really hope it's not. But there's a couple of things, if they go a certain direction, that we're not going to be very happy about it. I mean, again, I have faith that they will be able to do it, but I also have the worry that they won't be able to.
Yeah,
anyways,
absolutely. But
let's move along.
But yeah, basically, I really loved how Razor Crest landed. I thought it was a phenomenal scene, and it was my favorite scene in the episode, without a doubt. So
from there, like we said in the summary, he goes into the Mon Calamari bar.
Yes.
Baby Yoda gets some food, and he attacks him. And then the Mon Calamari, Mando's talking to him, and the Mon Calamari points him out to these Quarren, the weird octopus-looking things.
Orange Davy Jones.
Yes, pretty much Star Wars Davy Jones.
Star Wars Davy Jones.
Yeah. And they're like, yeah, we can bring it to Mandalorian, so they hop on the bar.
Yeah.
Everything seems fine. Mando and Baby Yoda off on a nice trip to go see Mandalorians, nice fishing trip. And then one of the Quarren's like, hey, why don't you watch our methods of how we're fishing for this big creature here?
Yeah. The child will love it.
Poof! Just whacks him into the water. We were all surprised.
Out of nowhere! Yeah, just like steel chairs Baby Yoda into...
That's pretty much what happened. And it came huge surprise for I think
I was surprised.
People, but definitely us, the entire family.
Which is weird because you'd think you'd expect something like that with how many times he's been on a trade, but they seem like pretty chill dudes. Like they were just like, oh, we're on a fishing trip. We'll give you passage on the way, just like you just said. And then I legitimately was like, well, the child's always been intrigued by stuff. Like, it made perfect sense to me when the guy was like, oh, he'll love it. He'll probably love it. It's like, I was thinking, oh, he probably will. I can't wait to see what they do. Like, I'm right in the zone, and then, like, you just boom! And I'm like, oh my goodness!
The capsule closes, and then the sinks in, and...
Well, Mando jumps in, like, right away. He's just like, I'm Daddy Boy! And
but Baby Yoda's capsule closes as soon as it gets in there.
Yes. Capsule closes, so he's, like, obviously protected.
Yeah.
Which is...
good.
Yeah.
And then, from there, the other Mandalorians, such as Bo-Katan and Sasha Banks and that other dude that I probably is also maybe an actor
Curly.
that I don't...
We're gonna call him Curly.
Yeah, I don't really remember what their names were. We were going to learn their names, but I figured they weren't necessarily important for the story. They're literally characters for the show that don't have importance yet. Maybe they will. Anyways. So, first impressions when I saw the Mandalorians arrive on the ship, both of us, it was a cool scene. The Mandalorians fighting back on the bar ship, killing people. That was epic.
Yeah.
Instantly recognized Bo-Katan. Other people didn't. One, because I saw spoilers, but also because
he was also peeved about that.
Right.
Before we watched the episode, he was
right.
peeved.
But I saw spoilers, so I knew Bo-Katan was in the episode. Mad about it. But I instantly recognized the helmet. Anyways, I know the helmet of Bo-Katan.
Yep.
Because I know these things. I watched Clone Wars and Rebels. But again, I was just peeved. Period. So upset when I saw her, like the spoiler. So when I saw her show up, I was less than enthused already. So I was like, eh. So let's see what your thoughts are because you didn't get spoilers on this.
So
Let's go with initial thoughts because we've had a ton of rest now. We're less worried. We're still worried, but we're less worried.
Yeah,
What were your initial thoughts?
So
PG thoughts.
So when they first came down, I agree with you. I really liked the battle sequence. I thought they did pretty good. It kind of reminded me of Power Rangers, just the way they were fighting in the
Power
sync.
Rangers.
But like, I mean, neither have I. But
Running game show I haven't watched before.
But I watched a little bit of. Yeah. Anyway.
We've all seen
Anyway,
Power Rangers.
But for the most part, I liked the scene, and I was kind of excited, but I also had that instant worry because they're bringing old characters to a new show, a new setting. They're in a sense like, no matter how far they stay away from that storyline and stay with Mando's, they're very clearly tying in kind of an old storyline. So like that worries me because like as we've said before, but we'll try to say more detail now. I really want this show to be about
Mando.
Jin Darjin.
Like butchered that.
Did I butcher that?
Now
Anyways,
I'm trying to pronounce it in my head and you messed me up. So
I want it to be about him. I want it to be about
Din Djarin.
Din Djarin. Yeah.
People pronounce it differently. Actually, I've seen many different pronunciations.
But I'm very worried that it's gonna be just a continuation of those old characters, and it's like, yeah, I like showcasing characters. I like seeing them as a live action setting. I think it's cool.
Right.
But
it's not that we don't think seeing these characters is cool. It's the fact that because we're seeing these characters, it just worries us because we've already seen enough of these characters. We just don't want the show to be about these characters like it was in the past because those shows were about those characters. But now that they're in this series, the show isn't about them. It's about Mando and the child.
Right, and that's basically it. It's like, I absolutely want to see them in more stuff. I want to continue their line. I don't know if this is the particular time to showcase them in this specific story, but we'll see. I mean, I could be pleasantly surprised. You could be pleasantly surprised.
I hope I am.
Knock it out of the water. But first impressions, I was like, eh. She took off the helmet, and obviously we've all been waiting to see how those gaps were gonna turn because like.
I'd love to talk about that haircut.
That haircut? Yeah. You didn't like the haircut? No.
Listen. I know they're humans in the Star Wars universe, but in Rebels and the Clone Wars, Bo-Katan strictly had straight hair. She also had the weird cut pattern, which probably, again, would be hard to replicate in real life, which is fine. But her hair was curled underneath like a real haircut. And I sort of get that. There was a period of time between Rebels and now Mandalorian, so I get that, but at the same time, I don't like it because they didn't really. Again, they're not going to talk about her changing her hair, but again, I just don't necessarily like it. Her hair was straight down. It was very out of this world, like Star Wars is. But then they just give her this
just a little
normal
detail.
world haircut,
Yeah.
like Sasha Banks. Again, I forget what the character was called, but she's a wrestler. Her haircut again was dreadlocky, but it wasn't normal.
Right.
It was across
Oh, the braids.
Yeah, it was
It's
across
a braided thing.
I forget how exactly it was. But it was that. That was sort of not necessarily out of this world, but it was unique.
Yep.
Bo-Katan had unique hair, and then they just sort of her hair. It was also sort of obviously a wig. In my
Yeah,
opinion.
well, that was my biggest. That's what I was gonna say. If my first impression was, I'm not trying to like be rude or anything like that, because like, I mean, obviously because there's just no need to be. But anyways, she was very clearly wearing like makeup to the point where it was like, I know they tried to make her look as exact as they could for, like, because she was animated before, so
Right.
it kind of felt like they were trying to make her look as animated as possible, which kind of felt off to me.
Yeah, which is
so like
why,
even visually, I was like,
which is why
the armor they got perfect.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
Oh my gosh.
The armor they got perfect, but her face, it was like,
That's like a.
I know you're trying to transition.
That's
but
a nerd happy moment.
if
right
you're
there.
gonna make her look like an actual person, make her look like an actual person. She kind of looks like clay, and she's not supposed to. So,
like the
I don't know,
armor.
visually, it was off-putting.
I agree with the armor too. The armor was absolutely stunning.
Yeah, without a doubt.
And we'll get to one other point on Bo-Katan before we keep going. However, I'll touch on this again. That with the clay look of Bo-Katan, it sort of worries me about Ahsoka.
Yeah.
And just how they're gonna do it. We've seen Tortuga in live action before in what's her face. But anyways, it was in the prequels. So we've seen Tortuga in live action before. But it's like, how are they going to do Ahsoka here? And she is even older now, because she's like almost in her 50s, mid 40s, somewhere around there. But how are they going to do Ahsoka? Is she going to look fake? A little bit of fake is fine, because that's puppeteering. It's Star Wars. It's okay.
And they've used that. Her name is slipping my mind, but another Jedi that basically is the same species as Ahsoka.
Yeah, it's Tortuga. That's the race.
Tortuga? The race? Oh, the race Tortuga.
I mean, I might be butchering the race's name.
Right. I meant the name of the character. I know who you're talking about. But
I know
they've done her. Was it Shakti?
It
was Shakti.
Shakti.
They've done that species before, so it's like it's doable. But
Ahsoka's also
it's Ahsoka.
Also,
so
does
it's
look
like
different.
Ahsoka looks different, and we've only ever seen her as an animation.
And like Shakti
so it's like,
had those like singular white on her face, but Ahsoka has different facial patterns. And it's not hard to do because there's like plenty of cosplayers that do character with like again like Marin from Jedi Fallen Order or Ahsoka. They do the face patterns completely fine. So I think they can do it completely fine. They just
main point is
I think they don't want to look like clay.
Right, exactly. We consider it a legitimate worry because of how attached we are emotionally to this character. And like, even if they get her character spot on, if she looks completely off-putting, then she's going to be off-putting as a character.
Right.
And we're just worried about that. But
so
moving on.
With that being said, we're just gonna finish up on Bo-Katan because that was a huge tangent. But with Bo-Katan, we're gonna try to do this quickly, but it's sort of hard to do this specific thing quickly. She sort of had, again, it's sort of later on in the episode, sort of here.
We should just
we'll talk about it now.
Yeah.
She had, it felt to us, an attitude change. Again,
like serious attitude.
The dark saber was stolen from her, which is understandable. I'd be mad if a dark saber was stolen from me because it's really cool and important. But she just felt sort of evil.
That's the word I use. Like
evil
like,
in a way.
Just evil.
Like, and that's
manipulative.
That's right.
Like very manipulative with how she proposed her offer to Mando and that whole thing. Very manipulative.
It
Continue.
felt, again, along with the look, it felt like a different character. And maybe that's just us, and again, we're going off of this not seeing the next episode yet. So, things could change. She's probably not going to be in the next episode, actually. Maybe. Probably not. But we probably will see her again. So, again, that's just our first impression of her throughout the episode is she just seems different. And again, you would be different after having your dark saber stolen. Right. You would be different, but this is just, I think, different to another level.
Yep. I think, I could be wrong, but part of that, I think, when I was really furious about it at first. Like, I was really furious. Because I was like, she's supposed to be one of the good guys, more or less. Like, yeah, she's Mandalorian, yeah, she does her own thing, but she's looks like she's losing her honor, and I don't like that about her. I don't like that at all, kind of thing. Especially with the character she was built up as before. But it got me wondering. It's like, are they going to slowly do a kind of plot twist with her character and make her more of a villain, like a corruption thing, or is it we have a specific view on Mandalorians because of season 1? Because one thing she mentions, and I didn't think about this until I really let it settle, but we've only seen his version of really the Mandalorians and what they believe. And as she said, like, they are their specific clan, and she calls them religious zealots. With the, you don't take off your masks, you believe in these old ways.
You've seen most of Clone Wars, right? And
yeah.
I mean, you're watching it with your wife currently.
Yeah,
so.
I'm rewatching it with my wife, so
right.
I basically know everything that happens, but...
So, again, I need to rewatch Clone Wars because I watched it when I was younger, but I haven't watched it again. But I think they touch on a lot in Clone Wars, actually the Mandalorians all over the place. Again, the last season of Clone Wars is the Siege of Mandalore.
Yeah.
Again, sort of making way for Mandalorian. But there's a lot Death Watch, and there's just a bunch of Mandalorian versus Mandalorian fighting.
Yeah.
Constantly fighting. They never really get along because there's so many different clans. So that here, just, again, it makes sense.
Jin didn't know he was part of the clan.
But
like,
Jin,
he thought that's what was it.
Right.
So, like...
He didn't know, because, again, this is in the future, and they just don't really know. Mandalorians aren't as well known because the race is sort of, not the race, the species race, is sort of, the people, they're sort of dying out, and there's different clans, but that's just sort of dying out as a whole.
But I gave it some thought. There is that chance, too, that it's like, we see it from his perspective. And it is being told from his perspective, so she...
I totally see it from Bo-Katan's perspective as well,
right. Which is why I say maybe. But at the same time, it's like, going past that, it's worrying because she just comes off as cynical. I don't like how cynical she's being. Like, it does worry me. And, like, if that's the story direction they go, if they do it well, maybe they'll sell us. Like, as of right now, I'm worried, though.
Right.
We're not sold on it yet. I think it's a lot of, and I don't use this term lightly, but a lot of, like, nerd trauma, basically. Because, like, the last time they did a huge transition for a character, it was Luke. And they completely botched him. Like, they made him...
We won't get...
Yeah, I won't get into it too much, but, like, we all know how much we hated that. So it's like, I don't want that to happen again with another character.
Yep.
So, that's all I have to say about that.
So,
I don't know if you have anything more to add to that, but
I do not.
That's the biggest worry character.
Very big worry. Very big. Not even a tangent, because that was pretty much the biggest thing in this episode.
Yeah.
For us personally. Going away from that scene, they eventually convinced Din Djarin, the Mandalorian, to help them.
Yeah.
Get supplies. So he conveniently drops them off at Frog Lady and Frog Husband. Literally their names in the show.
Always a very convenient babysitter. The entire show is just like, hey, they seem like good chaps. I'm gonna put them there.
It's okay because they do always end up being good characters, but at the same time, it's like, he doesn't really know them.
Right.
And I could see Frog Lady because he has sort of see Frog Lady because she has babies of her own, so maybe. But at the same time...
At the same time, he still has no idea who she is.
Pili Moto, the Tatooine lady.
Oh, Disney Park lady. Yeah.
She's very nice, obviously, but again, he doesn't know her super well. It's like, Mendo doesn't know people super well, which I guess is why he puts trust people, but he doesn't really put trust in people super fast. But with the babysitters, he does. That's sort of it. It's not. It doesn't ruin the show, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. Honestly, it's sort of cool.
It is.
But it's just sort of it's funky at times.
At times, I agree.
It's definitely a little funky that he always conveniently has that babysitter.
Yeah, without a doubt. So moving on,
they go on the ship.
Yeah.
They raid the ship and they go.
They say it's gonna be hard. Like they always make it out to be. It's like we're gonna pull off this big heist, but
they wreck everything.
They wreck house basically. It's like, and you know they're going to. Yeah. Like you don't really expect them to lose, especially because they're Mandalorians.
Now I'm gonna talk about a scene that you liked, and I didn't like.
He hated it. I loved it. I thought it was the best thing in the world.
I think it looked. No, I'm not gonna say stupid. I just said stupid. It looked. let's just get into it. He grabs charges because there's a bunch of stormtroopers, right? He
like
grabs
their
charges.
last battalion kind of thing.
Right. He grabs charges, and instead of throwing them, which easily throwing distance, by the way, easily throwing distance. We've seen him throw charges. He runs, ducks, and they're supposed to cover Mando, but like all the blaster fire, understandably, is at Mando, and it's just shot by shot by shot by shot hits the best guard. Nowhere in between, okay? And I get it because it's a TV show, they're not gonna make him get hit, right? But then don't do it if you're not gonna make him get hit. And again, I'm not trying to take away from the originals or anything, but we know that stormtroopers can't hit because it's their main characters, not because they're not bad, not because they're bad. Again, we joke about it, but it's just because they're main characters that they can't hit. They always hit their mark when it's not in a main character, pretty much. But anyways, I just thought it was crappy. He just runs, ducks, and he's like, yeah, chucks their charges in front of him, and they explode, and then they're dead. The thing with this is he could have easily threw in the charges. I just think the fact of him running forward and sort of like topping
swan diving them in.
I just think it looks sort of stupid. Alright, so for my future thoughts, I'm just going to do a quick summary of my thoughts, and then I'm going to point it towards Zach to hear his. But pretty much to summarize it, like I said, I don't want them to make it a series like another Clone Wars or Rebels. I don't want it to be another, hey, Bo-Katan and the Mandalorians and Ahsoka. Not that that's the way that they're going. That's just me and Zach's personal worry. A lot of people aren't even actually worried about that, which is good for them. Yeah. Me and Zach are just the worrying type of nerd, which sort of sucks for us. But it's good and bad at times. But I don't want it to be another series. I want it to be about Din Djarin and Mandalorian and the child. And just, hey, those are fine side characters, and their paths can cross in certain points. But if you want to, make it another series. Make Bo-Katan, or call it Bo-Katan or something like that, and have it like they announced the Boba Fett miniseries. Have it be a miniseries about Bo-Katan, or an entire series. Again, yeah, it's a lot of miniseries, but if it's good,
well, we watch them.
We're gonna watch it. Yeah. If it's good, we're going to watch it. If it's bad, no. But if it's good, why would we not watch it? It's good. We watch it. So sure, a lot of miniseries, a lot of series, but if it's good, we're going to watch it.
Right. And that basically it's how I feel about it too. Specifically that last point. We are not against in any way expanding the universe. We want to expand the universe. We want to see more characters on like a live action setting. Like absolutely. But we want them to do it right. We want them to take their time. We want them to really think about what stories are we trying to tell and where are we incorporating these stories. Because Mando is like, we were excited because it was something new. Like something new in Star Wars. First time in forever that it was like not a continuation of something. So I completely agree. You want to make a Bo-Katan series? Go right ahead.
As long as it's good.
As long as it's good, I'll watch it. Mm-hmm. Like without a doubt, anything. Like
live action wise is what we mean. I mean, cartoon would work too, but
yeah. But I think we're all at that point where it's like we want more live action stuff. Star Wars thrives on the big screen when it's finally. And when I say big screen, I mean when it's live action. I don't mean like in the theater, so it's technically a false term, but still, like, I'm not against them having characters. I'm not against them having their own series specifically about Ahsoka as a live action. Like, I know we can get into that another time.
She should be dead. But
she technically should. She should be dead.
I think we'll touch that on the next episode.
That was less a problem with the series and more a problem with
we'll get
Rebels.
Into it.
Yeah, but she should be dead. I hate saying that. You can hate us for saying that, but as a story plot point that has significance to her character in that generation of Star Wars, she should be dead. Mm-hmm. But, so, anyways.
With more future thoughts, again, going off of this, what we were just talking about, I think the way to properly form Mando, Din Djarin and the child, or just Din Djarin, depending on what happens with the child and Ahsoka, here's my sort of my my
Grand
idea.
view. Yeah.
Yeah, here's my view of what should happen, and then you can go off of this.
Yeah.
I think that, or something similar to this, instead of just Mando being, yeah, I'll join your cause, I'll become one of your Mandalorians, take off my helmet and be all cool, and just join your cause to rebuild Mandalore because reasons. I think what they should do, and again, this is a little broken, it's not a complete thought, but he should be like, hey, I need to kill this guy, Moff Gideon, because if he's not dead, and his empire, the rest of that empire, which the empire's done already, if Moff Gideon isn't dead, then the child is going to be forever in danger.
Yeah.
So he's like, I gotta kill him, I gotta figure out how to take down this bit of the empire here. Somehow, by myself, I gotta figure this out. And then he's like, there's other Mandalorians, but I don't know where to necessarily find them. So he goes and they cross paths coincidentally, or something along those lines. They're like, we have the same common sort of goal, or our goal goes in different directions, but we have one point that lines up, and that is Moff Gideon and the Empire. So they take those guys on together. They kill Moff Gideon. Whoever kills him, just Bo-Katan gets the
Bo-Katan gets her darksaber.
Bo-Katan gets the lightsaber. They go their separate ways, and that's probably because of the episode rate would probably be the end of that season. If there's another season, that would probably take on a completely different story, unless that's just 2 seasons. Anyways,
that's if Ahsoka's not involved with it.
Right.
Because we all want to see her use her live-action white blades against the darksaber. At least I do. Like that is the one thing that makes me excited to see her. Is I'd like to see a white blade as a live-action setting.
I'm assuming she doesn't know about the darksaber being stolen, so I think if she heard about it, she'd probably help.
Right.
That's just
how they would figure that out with the child. We don't know, obviously. Maybe he just joined them like he did last time, but either way, not worried about that. I definitely think that they might go that route. I am very similar in your thinking. As a grand view of what I think would be a successful Star Wars show, specifically with this series, is just last touching point here. I'll make it quick, as quick as I can.
time.
I love the child just as much as everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's cute. I think he has made a great impact to the story, and I think it's great. I love the child. However, I do not want to see the child throughout the entire show.
That sounds a little aggressive. But we know what we're talking about.
Right. I'm not saying I want him to be killed off. I'm not saying he's annoying or anything like that. I love him. But I don't want him to get to the point where it's just he's that cute character in the show. So, I think it would be, excuse me, I think it would be wonderful if either by the end of this season or somewhere in the 3rd season, if they would drop him off as a character. And when I say that, I don't mean kill him, I mean I want him to go where he's supposed to be going. I want him to get there.
Training to be a Jedi, or the new Jedi Order, training to use the Force and a lightsaber. Yeah. Because that's just, again, we don't know much about a species, but that's sort of what a species is meant for. He is strong with the Force. Right. His species is strong with the Force. We know that much about his species. So
it only makes sense, kind of thing.
Right.
So like,
I completely agree with you on. Again, it probably sounds more aggressive than we mean. All we mean is Baby Yoda's important to Mando because he's changed Mando. Right. He's changed Din Djarin.
And that's what I mean. It's like, this is a great story.
Continue on.
Right. I don't want the entire show to be just like them palling around, because like, as great as it is, it has to end at some point, because at the end of the day, he is a child, he is Force sensitive, and like, he needs to learn that stuff, even if he like steps away from it, or whatever that story is. Like, Mando has to continue doing what he is. This is just a mission. So if the entire show is a dragged out mission to get the kid where he needs to go, then I don't know. I don't know that I'd enjoy it.
If they do it right, then maybe.
If they find a way to say, oh, this isn't for the kid and Mando keeps him, fine. But like, I think it'd be much more influential if it's like, no, this is the end of our story together. You are in a better place. You are safe now. And then you have the second half of the series to have Mando do whatever it is he feels he needs to do, whether that's meet up with Bo-Katan and in some way get back Mandalore, great, but something to do with just him and his personal mission.
Also,
so like that's just how I feel
Yeah.
about it. If they do it right, maybe they'll surprise me if they go a different direction, but that's preferably what I would want.
I agree with you for the most part there. I mean, yeah. And like at the very end of the series, if they were to go that type of way, it's the very end of the series, or maybe in some episode, Mando would visit Baby Yoda and see his training and see how he's grown as a little child thing.
Right.
So real quick before we end this episode, I just remembered something. I think as fans and us too, have sort of not necessarily thrown to the side, but there's other side characters.
Yeah.
In the first season, Cara Dune.
Yeah.
And mustache guy, who got force killed by Baby Yoda, and I'm currently forgetting his name.
Oh. Yeah. I know who you're talking about.
Why am I forgetting his name? Anyways,
and
they're there, and I very much doubt they're not going to show up.
I mean, they're in a trailer. I stay away from trailers, but for the
They were in
first
a trailer?
teaser, like...
I don't remember seeing them. I guess I probably won't even look at it again.
I won't either.
I'll be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, they'll show up, so somehow they're going to have to help. So I don't know how far they're going to go into freeing Mandalore, because I don't know how they're going to put it all together, because they look like they have a few storylines they can go with.
They have to give Din Djarin a good enough cause.
Right. And right now it seems like they're kind of like going in a few separate directions story arc wise.
Yeah.
And I think that is the birth of a lot of our worries, is how many different ways they're going and which way are they going to go with it. But just really real quickly touching last part of my point is I think personally that Mandalorian should only be 4 seasons long. And that gives half the show with the child, half the show without. I think if you go past 4 seasons, it could work, but without a doubt, no more than 5, because
you don't want to.
We don't want
too many seasons is bad.
Like as much as we want to keep seeing it, there needs to be an end. If there is not an end, it will ultimately drag out until it's not good anymore, and then we will have to make the hard choice of not watching it and pretending the new stuff doesn't exist, which we're sick and tired of doing, or like it's just not good. It's just not good for anyone.
So with that being said,
we're worried, but we haven't given up hope.
With that being said, is it the way?
Is it the way?
Is it the way?
And this is
The
a pineapple.